Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Patchwork is one of the most popular two-player games. It comes from our favorite game designers, Uwe Rosenberg, and people love this game. It's a game about building a quilt. So right there, we're kind of out. It's not that interesting. I don't like building quilts in real life, and it doesn't really appeal to me in board games. That's not a reason not to play a game, but sometimes a theme will bring you into a game. This one sort of brought me out of it. Now, this is a two-player only game, which I do like those kind of games, and Patchwork is definitely one of the most revered and one of the most famous ones for two-player games, and people universally love this game. Instead of loving it, I like it. It's a very strong game. I like moving up. It gives you some very interesting decisions about using your buttons and kind of moving up the track and how to put this polyomino shape together on your quilt. I think all of that works, and I think that it's a very tight game. But it was something I didn't find myself pulling off the shelf. If we wanted to play a game, we'd usually go to a heavier game or not play this game. And I think the theme attracted that. I think that it was just kind of blah to us. I understand that a lot of people really like this game, but I think I'm in the minority on this one. With that said, I am purging my copy of Patchwork, but I think what I'm going to do is maybe invest in either the Halloween or Christmas variant. I think that's a better fit for us. Something I say, hey, it's a Halloween game or a Christmas game, we can bring this out and have a two-player fun with it. And, you know, the problem with it is it still has, you know, not a great look, the polyomino look. I'm not really into those games. I tend to go to Barren Park for that versus that. It's not one of my favorite aspects of gaming, so it isn't something that I'm remotely, like, latched onto. So I only need, like, one or two of those, and like, I like Cottage Garden pretty good by Uwe Rosenberg, and I like Barren Park. Now, I realize those are bigger games, and it might not fit the same niche for people, but it does for me. So I'm going to stick with Barren Park and let Patchwork go. So here's Patchwork by Uwe Rosenberg. You can see a very striking cover of quilt. Sure, yeah, whatever. Rulebook, we'll take a look at in a few minutes. And then we're going to have our components here. We're going to have some buttons. That'll be little cardboard buttons. There'll be some scoring. You can have some polyomino tiles. That will be different shapes and have buttons and times and cost on them. You're going to get a little bit of some wooden bits here that are fine. Nothing to write home about really here. You're going to get a little board that you'll be playing off to score. Everybody will have their own little board they're playing on. Pretty generic stuff. The components aren't going to wow you. You know, if you're really into quilting, maybe, but you know, the components are mediocre at best. Here's the rule book. You can see a picture of the components here. It's going to fold out kind of like this. You're going to have a picture of setup over here. And it takes you through the course of play. This is really the entire game right here. Not a lot of rules to it. On the back, you're going to have a little bit of extra little quirks that'll be in it. The goals of the game and the scoring. This is probably a 5-minute read, if that. If you're buying this at a game store, you could definitely crack this open, read it, and play it right there in the store within a couple minutes. Rulebook is very good. We didn't have any issues. You can see it's colored. It's got examples here with pictures attached to it. Very good. All the pictures are set up. Excellent. Can't complain. So this is kind of how the game will be set up. You're going to have your timepieces here. You're going to have your browns out here. And you have some tiles running around with this guy, neutral guy, just set wherever. So on your turn, what you're going to do is fairly easy. You can pick one of the next three that you can do. So say I want to take this. I would do so. And everybody's going to start out the game with 5 buttons. I would pay my 1 button here. I would pay 2 time. And I could place this out on my board wherever I see fit. Now, the trick to the game is now you don't take turns. So whoever is behind would go next. So let's say I took the other guy wanted to take this. He would pay the 1 button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He gets a button for crossing that. He would place this out on his board. Now yellow is behind. Oh, this would move up. So let's say that I wanted to take. Let's say it was right here, and I wanted to take this. I would pay my 2 buttons. I would pay my 1 time. I can place this anywhere on the board I would like. And because yellow is behind, he can go again. So then maybe I would go 1, 2, 3. I'll take this, pay my 7 buttons and 6 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I could place this out on the board. So whoever is behind is going to take the next turn. Anytime you go past the button spots on the board, you receive a number of buttons according to your quilt here. So I have 3 buttons. So when you pass this, I would get 1, 2, 3 buttons. When you pass one of these special patches, they're pretty good because they're 1 space. You immediately place them out and they can just fill something in for you that might be harder for you to fill in. The first person to get a 7x7 grid in would get this marker right here and would be worth 7 buttons. So you'll be able to gain that throughout the game if you're the first person to get a 7x7 grid filled in. Once both time tokens reach the end, the game will end, and then you should track 2 points for each space empty on your board. Whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Who should buy this game? Definitely anybody in the market for a 2-player light game. I'm definitely in the minority on this one, and I realize that. I would choose Baron Park over this, but if you're looking for like a little 2-player experience, I think a lot of people like this one, but the theme is kind of turned off for me. The game is tight, but I have a lot of 2-player games, and they're a little bit harder to get to the table sometimes. Or if we do get a 2-player game, there's a lot of multiplayer games that play well at 2-player, and we're looking for a bigger experience. I think there are a lot of versions of this game, so if you're going to get one, maybe the Patchwork one will work for you, maybe not. Maybe you want the Halloween one, or the American one, or the different countries, or the Christmas one, or something like that. I think I might go with the Christmas version or the Americana version, but listen, I'm in the minority. I realize that a lot of people like this one, so take it with a grain of salt, but if you match up with me in a lot of games, this one might not exactly be pulled off the shelf as often as you'd hope. So for me, it's going to be a Purge.